DVD Era TV back at y'all with another one. Today we gonna talk about the time Lloyd Banks was arrested for assault and robbery in Canada. Now let's get into it.
Mixtapes and DVDs is my era.
Facts.
We did it better.
Yep.
Pelly leathers,
Facts.
ACG boots. We 80s babies
Woo.
and early 90s when it got
Yo, it's
grimy.
real.
I was out of this world, you could not find me unless you check the lobby. Hustling was my hobby.
there.
We was lobby boys
Yep.
before Jim Jones. You could catch me in Harlem eating Jimbos.
Now this is an old story from the DVD era because the name of my page is DVD Era TV. And we cover a lot of stories from the DVD era. So no need to get in the comment section like this is old. No need to. But anyway, a lot of my subscribers and my supporters love Lloyd Banks. They're a big fan of Lloyd Banks. So I want to give y'all a story of Lloyd Banks that y'all may never heard before or y'all may have forgot about. Now, Lloyd Banks was arrested back in 2010 along with 3 of his friends for assaulting and robbing a party promoter. Now, some articles say party promoter, some articles say booking agent, some articles say road manager, but we basically get the point. And his name is Chris Hines, and you know he's a long time guy in the industry that booked people for shows, especially in Canada. Now, he booked Lloyd Banks. They had a disagreement. Now, according to him, they held him in the room for about 20 to 30 minutes, just beating him up. Now, 20 to 30 minutes to be getting hands and feet put on you is a long time. Like when you fight, say you shoot the 5 with somebody for 5 minutes, that seems like 30 minutes. So maybe he wasn't getting beat up for 20 to 30 minutes, and it just seemed like that because he was sitting there getting whooped. Maybe it was about 5 minutes, if that, but it seemed like 30 minutes to him. Maybe he's exaggerating. Now, I'm going to get into an article from Billboard.com explaining the arrest of Lloyd Banks for the assault and robbery. It says, G-Unit Lloyd Banks was arrested last weekend in Ontario, Canada, after allegedly assaulting and robbing a local promoter on Friday night. According to reports, Banks, whose real name Christopher Lloyd, and 3 others assaulted the promoter after the rapper performed in Club MV in a nearby Bradford late that night. Banks and 3 associates reportedly got into a dispute with the promoter at a local hotel over payment for performance and appearance fee. All 4 men were charged with forceful confinement, aggravated assault, and robbery. The 4 made a video court appearance on Sunday afternoon and are due to appear in court again early this week. Now, what it seems like to me, a jinky party promoter booked Banks, didn't have all his money that he was promised, and they went up to his hotel room and put hands on him. Now, we got to listen to this guy's side of the story. He did an interview with MTV, and, you know, he explains what happened. Let's get into that article, though. Chris Hines, the man who has accused Lloyd Banks and 3 other men of attacking him in his Canadian hotel room last week, is speaking out. Talking to Toronto Star, Hines described the alleged assault as unwarranted and unexpected. Hines, a veteran of the music industry who puts together shows and parties, told the paper he had booked Banks at least 6 times before. He said Banks showed up to the Club MV in Bradford 90 minutes late and got upset because many patrons had left and the ones who were there were not as responsive as the G-Unit member is accustomed to. Banks stopped his set prematurely, Hines said, and went back to his nearby hotel. MTV News phone calls to the club were not returned by MV's manager. Around 5:30 the next morning, Banks and his associates Sean McGee, Terrell Cooper, and Nicholas Sloan were arrested. They were accused of holding Hines against his will, beating him up and robbing him. Police say there was a dispute over Banks' payment. I never heard of anything like this happening, Hines said. You could curse people out. Maybe you don't talk to them again. But for the get physical, nobody was drinking and nobody was doing drugs. I think what really got to escalate was peer pressure. Hines detailed his perspective of the alleged attack to the newspaper. After the first punch, it was like, okay, he's upset, disrespecting me a little bit. But cool, I'm not going to be stupid, Hines recalled. I sat on my hands to show him like, hey, I'm not trying anything crazy. I knew if I fought back, there wasn't going to be no winning. When he hit me again, I fell on the floor. Then it started to hit me like, what the F is going on? I'm shocked. I don't understand it, the 36-year-old Toronto native added. With exception of Sloan, Banks and his associates have been released and are back in the U.S. while Banks and his camp aren't commenting on the matter. Lawyer Patrick Dutcharm said G-Unit rapper is pleading not guilty and is prepared for a long legal battle. Now, Lloyd Banks will get all these charges dropped. It says, after all, Canadian criminal charges against Banks, including forcible confinement, robbery, and aggravated assault, has now been dropped. In a statement to MTV News Thursday, July 22nd, Banks' lawyer Scott E. Lamone announced all Canadian charges against the rapper were withdrawn on July 15th. I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of crazy. Banks came 90 minutes late, an hour and a half late to his show. Then he left prematurely because the fans wasn't engaging with him. He kind of wrong. I ain't gonna front. At first, this article sounded like it was just one of them situations where, a party promoter is being jinky. They saying they gonna give you one thing and then they find a way to pay you less, acting like they ain't make money at the door or the bar or whatever the case may have you. But after reading this, Banks came late. I love Banks, but he came late, an hour and a half late. And on top of that, he left his set and got mad. This guy probably telling the truth, though. And you got to think, he in Canada. He got 3 dudes with him. That's the goons that's holding him down. They need they cut. So the guy wasn't probably trying to pay him for the full set because he ain't do the full set. You came 90 minutes late and then you got off stage early. So you can't get paid your full amount of money. And they probably was expecting that money, banking on it. Like, yo, you get this, you get this, you get this. And that money wasn't there. Now, mind you, this the Beamer Benz and Bentley Banks. Because if he was with 50, they would have been on time. 50 militant like that. He'd have been on time and they would have got their payout. But, Banks is doing his own thing at this time. But tell me what y'all think. Who y'all think wrong in this situation? Do you think Chris Hines, the promoter, is wrong? Or you feel Lloyd Banks is wrong? Get in that comment section and tell me what y'all think. Now, if you're a fan of these old hip-hop stories, tell a friend and tell a friend about my page. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out. 1.